1, 0.
Real people, real issues, real life. Talk Recovery Radio. Live from the heart of the downtown east side, it's Talk Recovery Radio with Giuseppe Ganci and Darren Gaylor on Vancouver's Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. From the streets to the studio, bringing you addiction recovery stories from real people with lived experience and real experts on today's issues. Tune in live every Thursday, noon to 1. Powered by New West Recovery. Real people, real issues, real life. Talk Recovery Radio.
And good afternoon, Vancouver. Welcome to Talk Recovery Radio. I'm here with Mr. Darren Gaylor. Hey, Darren.
Hey, Giuseppe, what's going on?
Oh, keeping busy. Oh, there's my camera. Got a couple of different monitors, just found it. So you're listening to us live every Thursday and powered by New West Recovery, Last Door, Westminster House, Canada's recovery community. It's almost holiday season, Darren. Yes, pretty exciting. Before we get into today's show, just want to make an announcement. I was in Calgary last Saturday, and I was super excited. I work with Last Door Recovery Society, and one of the things that we've done is this Recovery Capital Conference. It's in its 5th year, and 7,000 healthcare professionals across Canada have participated. There was a goal to create a recovery capital assessment toolkit to start measuring individuals who have addiction, what their recovery capital is. And you can go to recoverycapitalconference.com to learn more about that. That turned into creating an EHR that measures recovery capital, tracks people's recovery journeys. And everyone always says, recovery is not evidence-based, only medication is. And we wanted to tackle that with this software. We wanted to measure people's recovery capital, but we wanted to find out how are people recovering. And so we're asking, facilities to digitize their treatment programs so we can over time see what people are doing to get them from point A, detox, to point B, working at home, family life, and everything that goes on between there. Well, we have about 11 providers using this software, in Canada. But on Saturday, Alberta has taken the initiative to announce that they intend on using My Recovery Plan, which is the software that we have developed in treatment services across Alberta. That's a really big deal because it's like, oh my goodness, like finally, everyone talks about, getting, people-centered services. This is actually going to allow people to create their recovery journeys, but it's going to allow people to track it so we can find out what's working in our provinces and in our facilities from the grassroots level. So, more to be revealed, but, this is a really huge commitment. It'll be the only government agency in North America that's actually taking the overdose crisis serious enough to create a recovery plan, rather than just, not doing that. So we're super excited about that. It was a great day in Calgary on Saturday.
Congratulations. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty excited. Can you imagine like you having a digital, digital outcomes from when you were in treatment, Darren, and what you can do with that information when you start adding, thousands of people to it. I mean, it's a long-term goal.
And these are the stats that prove like economically the benefit of recovery, which is, I think, the reason why, there hasn't been done before or nobody's interested in it, right? Because, I mean,
it boggles my mind. 20,000 dead Canadians, and there hasn't been this national push to find out what recovery journeys could work, can work, do work, whatever, don't work, all that kind of stuff. Like just trying to figure it out, but no, Health Canada is too busy with this quasi idea of decriminalization that has nothing to do with what's going on in Portugal or Europe. Just this lazy attempt of decrim, without any services wrapped around it. the mayor of Vernon says, hey, I'm all for decriminalization, but not right now. Like, you guys don't even have treatment taken care of in this province. Like Portugal created the treatment before they did the decriminalization. And, so anyway, good news is, there's a province in Canada that's taking recovery oriented systems of care pretty seriously, and the overdose crisis pretty seriously, that they're going out and trying to figure out how to streamline communications amongst the entire province's service providers, and how do these services build recovery capital. So major applause to Minister Mike Ellis and the Premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney. Super excited to be working with you, and we're going to do one province at a time, and we'll see what happens, Darren. But you're listening to Talk Recovery Radio with a very happy co-host, and we're always bringing you guests from around the world to talk about recovery issues, talk about addiction issues, and as we're nearing the holidays, we're going to be talking about some holidays and what addiction and recovery looks like during that. But we've got a great feel-good story today. Mr. Darren Gaylor, who are we talking recovery with today?
Well, it looks like we're talking recovery with a lot of ladies here. This is awesome.
Girl power, yes. Woman power, yes.
We've had these women on the show personally, professionally, and I love it. Like last year, you guys came together for Recovery Kidz. That's obviously one of our big topics. Today, we want to talk a lot about Recovery Kidz and what you guys have been doing and what it means, and what this charitable organization is and does. So, I mean, I have it written out here, but like, who wants to talk about the beginnings, the inspiration of this? Let's start there. Alexis.
I'll go. This is my baby. So in 2013, we had some extra toys. So I have 4 children. In 2013, I've repopulated the earth for everyone. You're very welcome. I have all the kids. And in 2013, I was pregnant and I had a little baby, and then I had a couple other kids. And, sometimes relatives just love to like give tons and tons of gifts for my kids. And sometimes my kids don't necessarily love it, right? So I had these extra gifts at my house that I knew my kids weren't going to love, but like other kids might. And so I remember I phoned up a local residential treatment facility, and I asked them if they could use some toys. And I talked to the last door, and the reason I picked the last door is I have, a personal connection with that facility. And so they said, yeah, we absolutely, we could use the toys. And then I looked into it a little further. And what I found out was this: when a person is in when a parent is in a residential treatment facility over the holidays and their children are not residing with them, right? So what happens is they become ineligible for a Christmas bureau. And so the Christmas bureaus that are all around Lower Mainland, we think like, we're going to help these impoverished kids. We're going to help these kids get some toys. We're going to help these kids feel like not different than the other kids at school. Like, we're going to help. And what happens is these parents that are in these facilities are not eligible. Now, then I was like, well, the caregiver must be eligible, right? And what happens is, because the Christmas bureaus ask for tax information, so you need to have the kids on your child tax in Canada. So they need to have that. They need to be guardians of the children. And sometimes caregivers of these kids aren't that, right? Like, they're just taking care of these kids while the parents are trying to get their lives together. And so there's this huge gap in the system. And I went, okay, so I helped this one year. Let's see if I can do it again. But this time I'm going to reach out. So I'm super connected and I love social media. And I was like, let's use the power of social media and sort of crowdfunding to see how I can help this one facility, right? So I phoned the facility in 2014 and I said, hey, how can I help you this year? I want a list of kids this year. give me a list of kids. And not only that, I want to make sure that these kids are getting what they want, because I know that even my own family sometimes doesn't know what my kids want. Sometimes my own kids don't even know what they want, right? I mean, Darren, you've got kids, you know that, right? It's like, sometimes it's like, pulling hair, trying to find stuff. And so I really wanted these kids to be able to receive gifts that they're going to use, right? And so I got a list of parents, and we made sure that they were, you know, I didn't know who they were or whatever. And they sort of came with the age and the gender that the child identifies with, and the likes and dislikes of the kid and the age. And what I ended up doing is just taking that list and going out onto Facebook groups with moms. I was like, who's going to help me? Moms. When moms get together, when women get together, we do incredible things. So I reached out to the North Shore Moms group, which is where I live. I live on the North Shore. And then I also reached out to the admins of the New West Moms group, and these groups have thousands of women. And what ended up happening is I got overloaded with toys. Like, parents wanted, these moms and families were like, yes, I want to help. And I was so overwhelmed. And we had so many toys that I took the extra toys and phoned the Women's Center. And here's why I picked men too. A lot of people assume that it's the women that need help.
Mhm.
But the men, the fathers, play, in my opinion, play an equal role in raising these kids, and the men often get overlooked when it comes to this stuff. And so I know my ex-husband, when he's walking out with the kids and they're screaming, people are like, oh, what a good dad, it's so hard, we love you, or, oh, do you need help? I'm with two kids that are screaming and they're like, ew, what a mom, right? It's like, get your kids together. But what I wanted to do is really help support dads. But then I had all these extra toys. And so I phoned Westminster House and I said, can I help you? Can I drop these toys off? Yes, we can. You can. And then it ended up growing. And every single year, I first of all want to give a huge shout out to the moms groups, because those are the people who really helped start this grassroots project. They really, like, they were the ones that helped me. And at the beginning and for the first 4 years. And what ended up happening is it started growing and growing and growing. We started adding treatment centers. And then I was overwhelmed doing this on my own.
And now we have these great helpers
and
as
then
well.
I started
We've got
reaching
Laura,
out to these women.
we've got Linda, we've got Kimberly. I mean, the four of you are I don't want to use the word powerhouse, because, you know, there's anonymity and humility and all that, but you're the powerhouse of a lot of recovery groups here in the local New West recovery community. And it's important to have people, you know, that are active and loud in the recovery community to be part of this. I mean, Kimberly, you've got a huge Facebook group, Recovery Canada. I mean, what I see here too is raising the voice of recovery, because a lot of people, when they think of donating at Christmas, it's to the homeless, it's to the people in the downtown east side, which by all means, please donate. They need those items. But we forget about the people that are taking 6 months out of their lives or 6 months away from their employment to get well. And I don't think that this country honors that pathway as much as it should be. It's like, so many people want to leave treatment at Christmas time because they want to be with their kids. And so you've helped heal that conversation. It's like, it's okay. Like, the best gift is to stay into treatment. So in regards to that conversation, like, why are some of, you know, we'll start off with Laura. Laura, why did you jump in on this, and why did this become something important for you to want to help people in this area? Why
First of
not
all,
the homeless
I want to
people
say thank you for
downtown?
having us on. I'm really, really grateful that this matters, that our project, Alexis's project, is coming to life, and that you share our vision. So thank you for having us on. I can't tell you Alexis still and Linda, because they were the two that kind of spearheaded this together for many years, how grateful I am that they asked for my participation. And part of it stems from personal experience. I am a mom in recovery that could not put Christmas presents under the tree in early recovery. But I was also a child of a recovering addict who we never had Christmas as a child. I've never, ever once experienced as a child a Christmas tree with a Christmas gift under it. And I'm not saying that for you to feel sorry for me. That's just the reality. Like I don't feel like a victim to it anymore at all, but like I can still remember what it's like where everybody else comes back to school after the holidays and they're talking about all their gifts, or they're talking about making lists to Santa. And like my mom told me early on, there is none, and don't expect anything. And like that's pretty awful today. But I will say she's 27 years clean. I'm so proud of the human that she is. But anyway, so it's twofold, right? And mostly because like, good gosh, isn't it about these kids that didn't sign up for parents that are addicts? Isn't it about making their life just a little bit simpler? I mean, most of us so take for granted growing up with a bedroom and a bed that has sheets on it, and you know, I don't know, food for breakfast, and holidays that come and go where you're treated sort of special. And a lot of these kids don't get that in any way, shape, or form. And I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to get emotional about that, but I was just thinking about these kids that didn't sign up for it. And think about this, their parents are making a choice to get well, and they're doing it in spite of a primary excuse right now, which is, as Giuseppe just said, I need to go home and be with my kids. So in spite of that, they're saying, no, I'm going to get well so that I have lots of Christmases to spend year over year going forward. And like, we want to ease that, because if you don't understand what it's like to feel so strongly about you know, quitting or giving up, or, you know, leaving because your kids need Christmas gifts, or the shame and the guilt and the remorse of it being so in your face that you haven't been able to provide them with a Christmas for many years. And when we can take that burden away from them, the whole community heals. It's not just that parent, it's not just that child, but as they heal from this simple little thing that can cause an addict to go back out, we've made a difference, you know, in such a ripple effect that I was honored. Linda called me up, Alexis reached out to me, and I just thought, are you kidding me? This exists? Alexis ran with something like this. I so want to be a part of it. Yeah, I'm so honored.
And now it's grown so much. I mean, you know, Last Door was honored to be part of the very first Recovery Kidz, and then our sister program, Westminster House. You know, but now it's been so many years, and obviously the need just keeps growing and growing and growing, and the need to keep people in treatment is growing and growing. Linda, can you talk to us a little bit about the growth and who's involved now, and what has this, you know, little idea, which is great because little ideas grow, you know, has become?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having us on here. I first want to say that, you know, Alexis is very dear to my heart. She always has been, you know, her whole recovery journey. And when she had talked to me about Recovery Kidz, you know, I was doing something else. I was, you know, doing the sanctuary down in Union Gospel Mission, and I was taking these moms with little babies packages every year with Heidi, and we started that journey. So it was almost like a duplication of what Alexis was trying to do. And I said to her, yeah, we should just bring this out and develop a campaign that is going to reach a lot of people. And so today, like, you look at back from then to today, you know, we've got centers wanting to need our help. We've got hundreds and hundreds of kids that are getting gifts, and they're getting the gifts that they want. Like, you know, like, we're getting wish lists from them and doing that. And I guess I just want to say that, you know, anything that is good in giving is important, right? And in recovery, you know, like you said, Giuseppe, like, you know, building our own recovery capital in our own recovery is also going to impact other people in their recovery. Like, I've been doing this a long time of recovery, but I also see where, you know, when I was first new in treatment, and I was in one of those facilities that we support, and I didn't have a present for my kid. I didn't have a present. It was the first Christmas ever to be even in recovery. So I didn't even know how to deal with that or those feelings. And so it was really good. Like to just experience Christmas itself, like I was way too wasted to even enjoy that or be a part of that. So you had to learn how to do that. And I feel for all the people that are in treatment, because that's what they're going through. That's what they're going through. And then you think about the shame and the guilt with their children. And so we've got Westminster House, we've got Tralford House, we've got Last Door, of course, we've got the Sanctuary Union Gospel Mission, we've got Into Action this year. We had a bunch of gifts left over, so we went and reached out to another center, and then we have also got Together We Can. So we've got all these centers that give us their list. I don't know, we had a truckload of gifts left over last year. And then all of a sudden this year, we're sitting with, we want to get the list again, because you got to kind of start from scratch again, right? And it's been a tough year, with COVID and with money and with people giving, like there's so many things and so many positive things out there to give to, but this one is dear. It's dear to my heart. I love doing it every year. I love the team, like we're all bringing ideas to the table. Alex Robinson is also another woman that was big part of coming on as a volunteer. There she is. I see her picture. And she got a bunch of the moms of people in treatment to get them gifts for their babies. So, there's a lot of people that are behind the scenes that are helping us grow, giving back, getting people and challenging people to donate. The neat thing about donating to Recovery Kidz is that you can go on the Amazon list, you pick out the gift, it gets mailed, no money gets transferred. It's a really good thing. You're actually buying the gift on the list.
It's an investment in community. It's an investment in community. I definitely, Darren's got to probably have tons of questions too. And then we can find out how to donate and all that. But I wanted to go to Kimberly for a second. I got a question for you, Kimberly. You see lots of interactions on social media and so forth. I feel like you've got a lens to see what's going on in the recovery community and people who may be still using drugs and so forth. What's going on this holiday season when you saw all those pictures, of your past contributions to the community? How does it feel looking at those pictures? And for those of you listening to us on the radio, we just did some pictures of last year's items, and how much of a need is there when you look at your Recovery Canada page with thousands of people? Are people excited for the holidays coming up? What's your barometer on that with your lens on social media?
Well, I'll start off to say where we're at. Just today, numbers were released for October for overdose deaths. And October was the highest number of recorded overdose deaths in the history of British Columbia, with an average of 6.5 overdoses per day. For the year, we're at over 1,500 overdose deaths. So the need for treatment and for community is huge. The pandemic absolutely slaughtered recovery. We lost hundreds and thousands of people just in British Columbia alone. And this is a worse pandemic than the COVID pandemic in my perspective. And I see people struggling. And the thing that they struggle the most with is community and feeling part of. And they relapse, they feel outcast, they feel cast aside, they feel judged, and they struggle to come back in. And we as a community have to be here to support them and to say, hey, we're here. We want you to succeed. There is no judgment on your relapse. We all fall, we all make mistakes, but we're here to come together to pick each other up. And, Recovery Kidz is just one of those avenues where we can make that transition to treatment over the holidays that much easier. We don't need to lose 6.5 people per day to this pandemic.
Yeah, it might be hard to grasp, when we're trying to find, where to donate, because I think a lot of people are like, how do I save a life? And, so a lot of the focus and attention goes to these frontline, situations and organizations, and like Giuseppe said, it's everybody needs help, like, you know, all along the gamut. And but I think that this is that place, that charity that can personalize it for us, you know. Like, I love the way it's, you know, some little boy isn't gonna randomly get a ballet dance dress, you know, or you know what I mean? It's personalized, like the way you guys that put in the time.
Nothing wrong with a little boy getting about
yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to make it general, you know, but you know, like a lot of these charities, you know, there's a wrapped present. It's like, here you go. No one knows what it's going to be. And, you know, it's like,
I'd like to talk to the wrapped present piece, Darren. Can I just jump in really quickly? Okay, so first of all, I also want to say we're helping Robin's Nest in Surrey this year as well. So we have
Sorry.
That's okay. There's so many people that we forget sometimes, right? But the wrapped presents piece, here's the thing. I have accessed Christmas bureaus for my kids. I went through a divorce that where I didn't have an income, right? I'm raising, like, have these 4 kids at Christmas time. One's in NICU. Like I didn't have a way to get, I accessed the Christmas Bureau, and I get this thing, which I was so grateful for, which helped me so much, but they're wrapped. I spent an hour unwrapping them to make sure that they weren't, it wasn't something weird, right? Or like, I don't know what's in this thing. I don't know who's helping me. And so I spent an hour unwrapping it and rewrapping it. And here's the thing, when we give presents to these dads and these moms, we're able to say it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to ask for what you need, and it's okay to receive. It's okay. And secondly, here's some dignity. Go wrap it and tell them it was from you. Don't, so it doesn't have G for girl or B for boy, the age 14 and whatever beside it, right? Like on there. So it gives back some dignity and really like some humility back to the dads, and to learn that it's okay, and these moms, right? Yeah. So that was really why we give them wrapping stuff in the past, pre-COVID. Giuseppe knows this. I've been there. We've set it up like a toy shop, and they can go and pick stuff that's extra. We help them wrap it. Sometimes they don't know, you know, it's like, it's so cool.
Well, under that realm of community and dignity and humanity, and I mean, if anybody's wondering, like, you know, what happens in treatment, I think the treatment centers that are making a huge effect in a client's life are the ones that are talking about, you know, exactly that, the dignity, you know, and that just goes into, are we saving lives? Like, absolutely. I mean, if somebody comes into a treatment center and is experiencing a level of gratitude that they've never felt before, because somebody like just said that to them, you know, here, make it yours, wrap it yourself, you know, like what it means to give your own child a gift that you wrapped with a little bit of gratitude that somebody helped me do this is, I mean, that can potentially change the psychology of somebody, where it's like, this is amazing, this is important. Like, you know, I think so many of us, you know, dads especially, you know, wind up in treatment and are too proud to receive the help, and which is what it's all about, but we just can't get past it, you know? And I mean, I was a dad in recovery, and I remember that exact thing changing me, that somebody out there, whether they knew me or not, like was putting in this type of effort that directly affected my life, was life-changing. Like, it brought so much meaning into my life, you know? And
Darren, not just too proud to accept the help, too proud to ask for it, not even knowing how to ask, but there's this huge need, like you're thinking about it, you're enumerating on it, you're wondering how it's all going to come together for Christmas, you're stressing out about it, and you don't even yet know how to ask for help. But because we've all gone before and we know what that's like. You know, they came up with this vision to fill that need without you having to ask. And then you do have the dignity of learning that there are people that want to help. They are people that believe that you are worthy of this kind of help. There are people that believe you can be a great parent in recovery. And, you know, and then it's cyclical, right? There are people that help us that received gifts for their children, and the ability to give back and be of service and communicate their stories about how it changed their lives at that time in recovery. The way you just described, like, it's actually life-changing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we can talk all day and have many shows on the barriers of getting somebody in treatment and saving their physical life, you know, in that sense. But I think it's something we need to know, like, you know, people this year are, you know, that can freely donate or are looking for places that they feel, you know, have a little bit more specificity into where their money's going, you know, that it's not just sort of like being put into this big fund and it's, you know, nobody can really tell them exactly where that, you know, $100 is going to. That this is a charity that you could probably even be told the name of the young child that's actually getting, you know, this donation, which I don't know, for me as somebody that's always looking, you know, where I can help, I'm really picky, and I'm really, you know, I want to know like exactly where it's going. I don't have money to just toss around into, you know, charity funds, right? Like, I love that personal.
Yeah, it's nice to have people helping people. You know, one thing that I wanted to talk about in today's show as well is it's you know, helping people that are in treatment over the holidays is great, but I mean, the challenge is getting people into treatment over the holidays. And I know Linda's from Interventions on Demand, and you know, there's some people watching this show, you know, and just to show Darren, I didn't even tell you this yet. We got a message literally 20 minutes before today's show. Her name's Lori. She's from the Yukon. And she calls because she listens to our show every Thursday.
Shout out, Lori.
Yeah, I mean, she wants us to call her. She's actually part of a media in the Yukon, and she wants to know how we can, you know, share this recovery-oriented systems of care language in the Yukon, because so much focus is on the person still using on the street. It's like, how do we switch the conversation to people getting, you know, on the journey of help? So Linda, you know, there's some people watching that, you know, their loved one just ain't ready. So what do we do? You know, it's Christmas time, your kid's doing fentanyl in the basement, and you're being told, you know, to have them not use alone. You know, so you got that family member, you got the family member where dad's going to be drunk again at Christmas, and I don't know what to do, and the anxiety's starting to eat me, and you know, it's just another one of those years. So two perspectives, and maybe we can all talk about that. One perspective is, you know, the family member, that what do I do with my loved ones who's using, and then let's switch it over to the person that's using, that, you know, knows it's going to be a shitty Christmas. So how do they get out of it? So let's start with, what can a loved one do to cope with their loved one that's using this holiday season?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is to know that recovery is possible, right? Like, there are many pathways to recovery, and my phone has probably rang 3 times since I've been on this call. Like, right now is the time where families are sad and they're feeling hopeless, and they're feeling, you know, the pain of their loved one not getting what everyone else is getting in their mind. That's what they feel. And especially with, you know, with two pandemics going on at the same time, you know, with isolation being a big part of that, and families are trying to bring their loved ones into the fold and trying to remind them of the family love. And that's the most powerful tool that we have, is family love, family connection, family love. And then you bring them to broadening that into a recovery community that includes the parents and family members recovering and healing at the same time as the individual seeking treatment. Christmas is the best time to go to treatment. It's the best gift you could give your family. You know, it's the best thing you could do to make a better choice for yourself. Don't wait for New Year's. I mean, going through Christmas and your parents not sleeping at night, you know, that's not a good Christmas present, right? Like the good Christmas present is even to just put an action plan in place. A lot of people hire me for family case management to help people to get to the point to treatment, and working with everybody, including the addicted person, to change things up a little bit, at least the effort of knowing. And then my job is to introduce them to how amazing recovery is. And Recovery Kidz is doing that too. You know, like we're showing that it's a good thing to be in recovery and to accept help and to move forward like that. With people that are actively using, like that is the narrative that's out there, that we're just going to put band-aids on it and keep people alive. I get it. But what I don't get is that you don't raise your bar of wanting more.
Exactly.
You know, everybody
and Kimberly, as a person with lived experience, you know, you've got your recovery clothing line. You end up interacting with a lot of people, you know, so definitely, you know, there's that whole sponsor-sponsee relationship and all that kind of stuff. But through your Facebook groups, you interact with people that are still using. So what's as a person with lived experience, you know, what's some suggestions you have for somebody who may be watching this that's still using?
Ask for help. The number one thing I hear, and the first thing people text me when they've relapsed or they're coming back, is they say, please don't hate me. But it's like, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset at you. I'm so happy you called. Why didn't you call 2 weeks ago? We're here. We want to help you. There's no.
Okay, I'm gonna call you on that. I have a question for you. Let's get into like some serious talk recovery here. So everyone says that the recovery community stigmatizes people when they relapse. I'm a relapser. Like I know what went through my head. So I've got my own response to this, but I'm the host. I don't want to answer the question. So why do you think people say that if the 12-step programs are stigmatizing if you relapse? Because you just said, you know, I don't hate you. So finish that sentence, because for the people that are out there that don't get what you're saying. So,
well, to be honest and candid, is not everyone is well in recovery. And there are people who are sick and just haven't picked up yet. And those are the people that judge. And those are the people that cast doubt on people who relapse. And, you know, there are a ton of people like myself and Alexis and Laura and Linda and yourself and Darren who are here going, come on, come back. We want you to see you succeed. But those aren't the first people that you're going to call. They usually, you know, they post something on Facebook and it's like, you know, they're with Joe Schmo they met at the bar and they're making bad choices and posting it on all the social media, and everybody's commenting their opinion. Oh, you know, you're relapsing, you're not making good choices. It's like, shut up. Just private message them, be supportive, show them that we are here to help, and stop judging, because it's Judgy McJudgerson that's wrecking it for people like me and Alexis who want to help you.
Well, I mean, even we're well aware enough now to know that when I was coming back or had relapsed and walking into a room of people that knew me prior to that relapse, how I felt about myself was how I felt or assumed everyone else was feeling. Like your example of somebody saying, you know, I did, you know, I thought you were mad at me. Don't be mad at me. You know, like that's what I'm imposing on everyone around me, is that disappointment that I have in myself. So if you were to ask me, why didn't you go back sooner? It's because maybe my response was that because I was ashamed of myself. And then the conversation's why? Because if people made you feel that way, I mean, yeah, I might have answered yes, but that was under my own scrutiny and my own, you know,
psychosis. You're my own psychosis.
Yeah.
You're listening
we get to know each other, and there is a disappointment in that with that person. Like that's my friend, you know, and it's hard to hold back the fact that I'm mad at you, but would I ever not pick up the phone in that anger? Would I ever not pick you up? Would I ever not bring you to a meeting? That's the part where it's
like getting in a fight with family. You still love them, but you can be mad at them for a couple of minutes. I mean, love out to both my sisters. You're listening to Talk Recovery Radio, coming to you live on 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio. You can tune in every Thursday. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe. And if you're watching us on any other stream, follow us and all that kind of stuff. You can go to talkrecoveryradio.com for all of our streaming of all of our archived shows. Shout out to Jordan Bowman, who's our show coordinator, who puts together our shows every Thursday. So we're talking to Recovery Kidz, recoverykidz.com. These are some of the volunteers for Recovery Kidz. There's lots of them. These are some of the lead volunteers. Special shout out to Alexis and Linda for starting all of this many years ago. And Alexis, we're going to go back over to you. So I've got some money I want to donate. This is a great idea. I want to support people in rehab, and I want to support their recovery journey and their kids. What can I do?
So there's a couple things. Number one, you can go to recoverykidz.com. It's recoverykids with a Z.com. There's two things. There's an Amazon wish list, which we have created from the wish list that these parents have given their caseworkers who have given us. And so the Amazon wish list is separated into what's been purchased and what hasn't. They all come to my house. So I have boxes of stuff. We just dropped off a whole bunch of stuff to Kimberly's warehouse because she has her warehouse with their recovered candles and shirts and stuff. And so you can go to the Amazon wish list. You can also PayPal us. If you're in Canada, you can e-transfer to recoverykidz with a Z at yahoo.com. And you can reach out. Yeah. The other thing that we're looking for is this. Are you ready? We are a grassroots organization who has been unable to provide any kind of receipts or anything like that to anybody because we are not a registered charitable organization. We are not a nonprofit, any of that. But what we're looking into is how we can create that. So we're looking for a lawyer. If you're a lawyer that wants to help us and maybe spare some time or give us, a discounted rate or like help us at all, I'm just like shamelessly putting that out there because we do want to create this in a way that we can start getting companies involved. And there's a lot of companies that want to be involved, but they're like, how do I write it off with taxes? And some would say creative taxes, but I'm not going to tell you that. but we want to be able to issue those receipts. And it does take some extra capital. And right now we want to use that capital towards the kids that are, for the toys. So if there is a lawyer out there that is in recovery maybe, or wants to help, hit me up.
Right on. You better be careful what you wish for. We might not have room for the amount of people that are on this list of helping out next year when we talk to you guys again.
I do want to say a big shout out to OK Tire, who's partnered with us, Ashton Hairlane, who's partnered with us, Brittany Kerr, who couldn't be on today, took over one entire treatment center, and so there are so many companies that have come on board and that are helping. And so we just want to make that bigger. And we're helping 300 kids this year. We've helped thousands of kids up until, I can't believe that. I think of where I was in 2013, and I was taught early on when I went to my first meetings when I was 17 years old, right, in treatment, just help others, right? And that was where it came from. I wasn't going through a great time, wanted to help some other people to get myself out of those feelings, right? And so to think of where we are today and the possibility of where this can be nationally even, and to where it blows my mind. And I want to thank everybody who has donated so far, and to anyone who is potentially going to go on the website and help us as well. But I can't believe it's been 8 years. It's crazy.
I remember, I've been talking to a lot of, friends and people in recovery, just paying a little bit more attention around this time of year. I'm always trying to figure out the psychology of what's actually happening in the holidays that's, making the stress a little bit more. And, what's happening that this time of year, while it should be, one of feeling gratitude and appreciation for others and being of service and all of these components that some of us aren't doing so well and are afraid of the holidays and like that stress.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you guys like can add this to your lives and not become overwhelmed, because I know I know you guys personally, I know you professionally, I follow all of you on social media and see how busy things are, and that there's other charities that you support, and like is this just like straight up like service that you feel inclined and feel absolutely like bring on the stress to get this done, or is there even a component of stress
Well,
to this for you?
we're so far in that we can't stop, Darren. Okay. We're so in, and I really want to really give a shout out to the 3 women on here today, because I've been a little bit busy because I do work with another board of a charitable organization this year and for the last 5 years. And so they've done an amazing job, but we can't stop. We've started this. We can't go, well, we're going to not do it next year. Like it's moving.
Gee, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. What you get involved in
We can't
something.
wait to
I
keep
just
going.
Exactly. So you
But
know
on
what
that
to do.
note, we have 4 to 5 times more kids this year than we ever have. And about, if we're really candid, half the donations.
Okay.
So
Well,
whatever
that was
happened
my next
last year.
question. What's your need right now? Like I'm looking at your wish list right now. So if I go to your wish list after I go to recoverykidz.ca and I go to your wish list, so are these all items that are still like just
Yeah.
their ideas, or these items that really kids
They
want?
really, kids have requested them. And like, I'm not exaggerating, guys, for whatever reason last year, like Alexis said, we were so abundant. A lot of organizations have said because their events were canceled due to COVID, they diverted their what they planned to do and their giving to Recovery Kidz. But this year they're all back on. So we have faith though. We have faith we're going to get through the stress. We have faith that every kid's going to get a gift. We have faith that it's always going to work out. But shamelessly asking for donations is our mantra right now. We are asking anybody that walks and breathes to please donate. Cash, like they said, you can do it on our website. We have a GoFundMe, anything on that Amazon wish list. Every single penny is accounted for and spent on toys or gift cards, because one of the needs, I will say this, a lot of time teenagers get overlooked. A lot of people run out and buy gifts for toddlers, for young people, really young ages, but the teenagers don't need toys. What they need is to feel special too. And so gift cards are a huge thing for us. But yeah, 4 to 5 times the amount of children this year, and half the donations so far. So step it up, please.
Yeah, let's step it up. So let's make some donations.
And one good thing to remember too is this is a great way for people who are also in recovery and who've gone through treatment to give back in a small way. I know that there's hundreds of thousands of people who are sober and clean in the Lower Mainland, and they can have the ability to each give back. And this is a way to give back as thanks for your sobriety as well.
My partner actually runs a men's group, and he challenged all the people in his men's group. He donated $100 and he challenged all of them to do the same. And just in the last 3 or 4 days, we've been able to raise some money. And they're actually wanting to put it out to other men's groups to challenge them to meet or beat their donations. So it's been really fun what can happen in the recovery community as well.
And it's important to raise. Go ahead, Alexis.
Sorry. The other thing is that we don't just need your monetary donations. That's lovely. We want that. We want the toys. We want the money. We have items on the wish list that are $5, right? That kids want. But if you don't have the money, say that you're in your first year of recovery or second year, 10th year, I don't care. Maybe you're not even in recovery and you just are struggling or whatever, you can't financially help. Your social currency, your social currency, how you show up on Instagram, how you show up on Facebook, how you show up on LinkedIn, how you show up on Pinterest, how you show up on Clubhouse, I can go on. Your followers are a form of currency. And so if you share our message through a story, through a post, you can reach out to me. I'll curate it for you. So all you have to do is post it. Like, you don't have to create anything. If you share it, that is just as valuable, because if you can imagine one person buying something for $5, but then imagine that you put it on a story and 100 people see it and 10 people buy something for $5, like, that's helping more kids. So if you can't donate, or even if you can donate, also please, we ask you use your social currency.
And
Yeah,
don't
please.
feel any guilt if you can't donate. This may not be your season, right? This is our season. This is our time to give back, but it may be that you just don't have the means. You know, what Alexis said is incredible. You can also go to our Facebook page and volunteer to help us put gifts together, to help us shop. There's all kinds of ways we can put you to work. Please let go of any guilt and shame if this isn't your season to donate monetary, things.
I love it. So Laura mentioned having faith. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could list off the worries and the concerns, and it's just like, but I have faith. And it's just like, it puts it all into perspective. Let's a quick little something personally, like how do we deal with stress? Like, how do we keep our mental stability? Like, you guys are busy, kids, your own lives, obligations, expectations, all that comes.
If you can't donate, this may not be yours.
Ooh,
Let's keep going.
So Linda, just start with you. Like, how do you keep a positive mindset through this time of year?
Well, my hair is thinning, so.
Okay, so a visit to the salon.
Yeah. So to be really candid and honest, I have myself been impacted by the pandemics that are happening right now with COVID and with the overdose crisis. I feel my job is a big part of who I am, but I also feel like my personal life is who I am, and my social community and my community capital. But I've also felt down. I felt down and discouraged about the world right now because it's so unknown. But at the same time, the things that build me back up are doing things like this, are doing, I do another giving back, are being a part of the community, giving back in small ways. I mean, I learned that in early recovery, and 25 years later, I'm still know that to get out of myself and to feel good about myself, I need to do those esteemable things. And it's constant. It's in my bones. It's in my bones now. You know what I mean? I've been living this for a long time. It's in my bones. I want to always feel like I'm doing something to contribute and not being self-centered, right? Because it's a self-centered disease, and we all still have it. We all still have to work on it. And, and there's lots of ways to do that. Burnout is not good either, right? Like, if I'm not feeling good about my recovery and myself, I start to decline, and then I would start to care less, and I don't want to care less. Like, those things start to become your value system, right? And my value is
recovery does a fundamental change. Like, I just, while this show's going on, I don't know why this memory keeps popping up, but I remember about 17 years ago, before I went to recovery, before I went to rehab, I had no counselors in my life. Like, I never thought I had a problem. And I remember just being, very lonely on Christmas Eve, and my whole family lives in Ontario, and I had no money, and it's Christmas Eve, and I'm on my couch, high, and just feeling like, destroyed, and no understanding why. Just, I remember being on my couch by myself, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I had no one to hang out with, no friends, no family, no money to do anything. And, I had 2 full-time jobs. So, like, it's just, it completely destroyed my life. And I think about that day and how horrible it was, the isolation and loneliness. And I really thought that's all like I deserve that type of thing. And then, you know, years later, recovery and all that. And now like I have options this Christmas Eve. You know, I have places that like people want me to hang out with them on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. You know,
Everybody wants to hang out
you
with you
can't
this
like just minimize that. Like, I mean, that was me 17 years ago by myself. And now, you know, I have options to volunteer and make somebody else's, you know, holiday better. You know, and I donated probably back then to some charities, but there was no heart in that donation. And I think this is the heart piece. It's like, you know, because there's an attachment. Like I know this smile this is going to put on some mom or dad's face. I know this smile, like I know it. I get a tingle in that like I just, you know, I can feel it. Like I already know what's going to happen, you know, December 24th and 25th. We can't forget where we came from. And if you're watching this show, you know, like, yeah, you can just go on with your daily lives, but you know, this is kind of, you know, what we were saying earlier, like this is a pitch, like people need help, and we need to show people like you being in rehab right now is a big deal. Don't leave. And you know what, like we're going to make sure your Christmas and your holidays are comfortable, and what you for doing, it needs to be more contagious across the country, because I remember, you know, raising money for the very first time for Recovery Day, nobody understood what giving back to recovery was. They thought we wanted free food and free soup. And it's like, no, wait a minute. No. We don't need free soup and bread. Like this is different. Like we're in recovery and so forth. And it's a big deal that you're shedding light on that. And so go to recoverykidz.ca, check out the Amazon wish list, lots of items still there. .com, sorry, thanks Alexis. You know, share it. Alexis will retweet and reshare, you know, your social currency. That's a big deal. You're listening to the show, share it, and so forth. We literally got 2 minutes left on air. Anybody have any final thoughts, any final words?
Real quick, I think it needs to be repeated. Recovery Kids with a Z, not an S.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just because yeah, we just so appreciate your help. We appreciate you getting the word out. Share, you know, what Giuseppe said is true. It will matter. It will matter for both those moms and dads and those children. And the absolute best way I know how to get through the stress, Linda nailed it, is being of service to others. I don't think about me so much when I'm thinking about you. And that doesn't mean that I don't matter. It means that right now, it can be super stressful, and the solution is always thinking about you. And I love that the women we've connected with here on this board, it's in our DNA. And yeah, you like attracts like. And Alexis, thanks so much for starting this. I just huge shout out for you and Linda carrying the baton for so many years.
And I mean, as I'm looking at you guys, like, you know, even if it's not even about the Recovery Kids conversation, like if it's about, you know, I need help, I need some information, I need, you know, I got someone suffering here, you know, and all of that. Like, I just look at the four of you, and if somebody could like send an email or a Facebook message like that, that would begin like probably from step one to like, you know, the solution, just by having a conversation with one out of the four or all four of you. Like, I mean, and I think that's important too, because I know, you know, from doing the show or just, you know, connecting with people, like I get messages. I get like, hey, what do you think? Like, hey, my son's, you know, in this type of shape. And you know, sometimes the solution's not right there, but just a response, just a conversation and a, you know, a message back is the beginning, is what somebody has been missing this whole time. So, you know, I however you guys get connected, you know, to someone out there, like these women on this show today, I know will provide some information as best as they can as well. So yeah. If you got any questions, reach out to the show, reach out to any of us, you know, through our social media, and you'll end up at the end of the day have a little bit more information.
Great.
All right, everybody, you're listening again to Talk Recovery Radio, Vancouver Co-op Radio, 100.5 FM. You're also maybe watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and replaying us on our restreams. Special thanks to all of our guests, Recovery Kidz with a Z.com. Special thanks to you, all the service that you've done, and all the service providers you're going to help with your Christmas donations. Go to that wish list, purchase some of those Amazon gifts. They've got 300 kids that need some presents, and everyone loves presents. Shout out to Alexis, Lara, Linda, and Kimberly. And if you want to stay connected on social media, go to recoverykidz.ca with a Z.com. And there's a Facebook page, but don't forget, you got Recovery Canada here, an awesome resource for Canada's wonderfully healthy recovery community, sharing their opinions and thoughts. And then don't forget, we've got Lara and Linda here and Alexis, who are more than happy to help you with any recovery questions too. Darren, always good to see you. We'll see you next Thursday. That brings us to 1 o'clock. We're out. Take care, everybody, and see you next week. To all of our listeners and followers. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.